And we're doing the thing. And
Hello.
everyone was muted. So
Oh,
there.
no.
damn.
Welcome to Cult EXE, a channel here on Plus One EXP. I'm Sarah, the high-level monk and cult leader here at Plus One.
And I'm Keegan, the content necromancer and other cult leader. Plus One's a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare, alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. The dream and hope here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. Today you're joining us for Character Study, a cult classic, where we sit down with folks all across the TTRPG space to learn more about characters in a system they love, in and out of game.
It's
Yes.
fine.
Okay, cool. I'm reading
Nailed
off the
it.
script and there's a word missing.
It's gonna be fine.
Cool. We're taking audience questions, so feel free to chime in with questions as we move along.
Today is... Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna say it's like Ron Burgundy thing where you have to read exactly what's on the script.
Yep,
Yeah,
100%.
I've been awake for 5 minutes for people watching at home.
Today our guest is Anita, one of my favorite human beings in this space, who's also a graphic designer, TTRPG streamer, and host of the talk show Morning Ritual. They're founder and producer of Critical Misses, a growing Twitch presence and burgeoning community that promotes inclusivity and positivity in gaming. Anita, thank you so much for coming and being with us today.
It's so good to be here. It's really early, everybody.
It's so early. I
It's
will
so
listen.
early.
I'll take the bullet for this. It's my fault. It's my
This
fault.
is your fault.
I did this. Hence my
I
cheery
overslept.
disposition.
And it's your fault.
Yeah. Actually, every time we think about how tired we are, it fuels me. So I'm actually like a sleep vampire, and I just require this energy to exist. So thank you for this. Thank you for this feast.
You're
I'm here.
welcome.
I'm here for it. The
Yeah,
caffeine will kick in shortly.
right. Gosh, I hope so for all of our sakes.
Wow, you all had time to take off.
Yeah, imagine, Keegan. Imagine the lives of luxury we lead. If you can. Yeah, so today we're working through the Cypher System, which I'm
Yes.
completely unfamiliar with. So when I tell you that I'm ready for this journey, I mean it. Because Anita, can you tell us a little bit about the Cypher System?
So yeah, the Cypher System is a gaming system, like it's top to bottom, complete system by Monty Cook Games, and I love it because it is infinitely adaptable. You can make any setting, any sort of game that you want in it. Some setting examples, like there is the Numenera setting, which does run off of the Monty Cook. It is the same system. It is also by Monty Cook Games. But if you want to make yourself a post-apocalyptic zombie world type thing where you want to try and survive against hordes and hordes of zombies, you can do that. If you want to make occult investigators, fist fighting Cthulhu Nazis, you can do that. The game is so skinnable because you can make literally anything in the book. It's a 450-page book.
Ooh.
But you can make anything you want out of it. If you want to make elves, you can make elves. It's great. It's, like I said, it's infinitely skinnable. You can build any sort of world that you want to build in any sort of character that you want to build.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna guess, is that why you chose the system today, or is there like a special personal warm little spot in your heart for this system?
That's kind of the deal. Is I've got like a little bit of a soft spot for this system. I really like I said, I like how adaptable it is. I like how you can do anything with it, and I just it's also very fun because you can. I also very much like character creation in it. There's little to no math in your character creation.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You said the magic words, no math.
This is the second universal role-playing system by Steve Jackson Games we've done on this, because GURPS was our episode 1 of this.
It's fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you shared a cool PDF that was form fillable, but we also have, and I'm going to swap us over, through the power of the internet, we have this cool character builder generator deal that we can just run through. And I'm not about pop and circumstance. I'm about just get into the heart of it. Do we want to jump
The
in and start
nitty-gritty.
making a character together?
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
So I guess
which-
probably where should we start?
Yeah, I would say probably the genre, right?
Yeah, so your genre is going to flavor exactly which. So let's just do a quick brief overview. I'll give you the Cliff's Notes on how you build a character.
Awesome.
Your character is a sentence.
This is
your
sick.
Your character is always a verb, noun, who. I guess is it adjectives? Right? Is that how that works? Is that how sentences work? I forget.
So it's
how
an
sentences work.
adjective,
Adjective, noun,
Noun, who verbs.
Yeah,
who
who
verbs. Yes,
verbs.
adjective,
Yeah.
nouns, who verbs. You're always an
Gotcha.
adjective, noun, who verbs. So you have a series of descriptors.
Okay.
Then you have your character type. And then you always have your focuses. So those are what you do as a character. So you could be a exiled warrior who is wanted by the law,
Okay. All right. This is very good.
or you could be a stealthy adept who learns quickly.
Okay. This is sick. So let me ask, Anita, who are we gonna be then?
So I think we'll start with our genre because that also flavors what verbs, what descriptions, and what we can what descriptions that we can use for this. So I think if we're going to be building, I think we spoke briefly. You said
Yeah.
build yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As to the extent that you're comfortable, I think it would be
Absolutely.
sick.
Yeah,
Well,
I
then-
think I always phrase it yourself or an idealized version of yourself.
There you
All
go.
right. Well, then for our genre, let's choose modern / horror / romance.
Are we
And
going to supernatural or no?
you know what? Heck it. Let's do. If you said idealized, let's do supernatural. I want to
yeah.
believe.
Heck yeah. And what
And
flavor?
we'll do vanilla flavor. Why not? Just keep it simple.
Cool, cool.
Nice.
And then, like I said, it's just building a sentence. So for, I guess, let's have a look because in this, you have your where it says appealing. You've got this whole drop down.
Yeah,
with
there's
about,
a ton.
There's so many of them, and each one of them actually affects how your stats work out for your character.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
fun.
Okay.
It shows you what you can do, what you can't do, because there are part of
Oh.
this game is also things that you're not capable of. You have certain things that are called inabilities as with your paired with your abilities. So like for example, if we want to just grab one off of the cup, we'll try calm. So for calm, you're bookish, which gives you an extra to your intellect pool because everything in Cypher System is your 3 pools: intellect,
Gotcha.
speed, and might. You get skill. So with calm, for example, you're not the outdoorsy type. All climbing, running, jumping, and swimming tasks are hindered, which means that it's harder for you
Okay.
to do those things.
All right.
But for me, let's do.
I
There's
love that.
so many of them.
There's so many,
Yeah,
but
there are.
I love that 2 of them are just like dwarf, elf.
Yes. So that's how you do fantasy races in this is
Amazing.
it's just a descriptor. So let's go with let me just grab.
Yeah, there's also
I also
more.
have the book open so I can see what they do.
Gotcha.
I like the idea of intuitive.
I think
Okay.
that fits. I love that.
Yeah.
So you're often tickled by a sense of knowing what someone will say, how they'll react, or how events might unfold. Maybe you have a mutant sense. Maybe you can see just a few minutes ahead of time, or maybe we're just good at reading people and extrapolating situation. Whatever the case, many look into your eyes, immediately glance away, as if afraid of what you might see in their expression.
Ooh, that's very good.
Which gives me an extra to my intellect pool. It makes me trained in perception tasks, and I can act immediately even when it's not my turn. And the fun thing about these is it also gives you like links to your starting adventure, so it actually bakes in plot hooks as well for your
So
characters.
Oh, that's
cool.
great.
So yeah, let's do intuitive.
Awesome.
And for the next is going to be our character type. So there are 4 main character types. You've got your adept, explorers, your speakers, and your warriors. Warriors are like your fighty types. Your adepts are like your sorcerers, sort of wizards or mages. Your explorers are your Indiana Jones types adventurers, mystery seekers, that sort of deal. Also, with each of the different character classes, it gives you examples of what kind of person they would be in each of the different flavor settings.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Nice.
So, for example, a warrior in, say, where is it? In a science fiction, a warrior would be like your Starship Trooper, your merc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In a superhero type setting, because you can do superheroes in this as well, they'd be like your Bruiser, your Hulk.
Gotcha.
So I think I like the one that I'm thinking of going for is a speaker.
Ooh.
Um, they're in modern settings, they're like diplomats, charmers. Actually, you know what? I'm not really feeling like a much of I do a lot of speaking, but I think that I might be an adept.
Ooh, I like that.
Who wouldn't want to be an adept if you have the
Honestly,
option?
right? Like I like to say that I try to be a sorcerer in real life. I know that I'm mostly an artificer at this point because I've just
Oh my gosh,
I
it's true.
because I just figure these things out. So for adepts, you master powers or abilities outside of the experience, understanding, or sometimes belief of others. They might be magic, psychic powers, mutant abilities, or just a wide variety of intricate devices depending on the settings. So it's the ADHD hyper focus that makes you able to do the things that you could do.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense to me.
Uh,
And
this is very
then the
good.
last thing that you do is it's your sorry.
Your
It
verb.
is your verb. Let me just see if I can grab those.
Okay, this one that I opened this list and I saw it and
Mhm.
it's immediately like what I strive to be. It's who doesn't do much. I love that and I want that. I want that life for me.
So yeah, these are called foci.
Okay.
So they are so what these do is they give you like different powers, I
Yeah.
guess, like abilities that are outside of your basic stats. But there's ones like doesn't do much, but there's also ones like
Yeah.
dances with dark matter.
Yeah. Moves like a cat. Runs away. Also very good.
There's a bunch of them that are just really good.
They are
Yeah.
very, very good.
Is license to carry is so specific though. Like the idea everybody else is like, yeah, I move like a cat. I do murder, and someone's like, I have a gun.
I have a gun. License to carry. I can look that one up. I can tell you exactly what it'll give you.
I imagine it's got to be a little more open, but I don't. What are we carrying?
I hope not. I hope it's just a gun.
That'd be hilarious.
That one's not actually in here because this might actually compile ones from other additional settings. But there it is license to carry. Yeah, gunner gives you practice with guns, gives you careful shot, and gets you able to do more damage, like different tactics, all with guns.
This is very good.
They have a gun. I told you, that's their whole power.
It's
They
wonderful.
they are gun wizards.
Oh man. Yeah, these are wonderful.
Oh, there it is.
All right, let's have a quick look at these and see what one I think. Oh, I like learns quickly.
Okay, this is good. Oh no, that lives in the wilderness. Learns quickly.
Which is you deal with bad situations as they arise, learning new lessons each time.
Ooh, I like that. I feel like this is the problem. This is the problem and the wonderful thing with like TTRPGs is some like that statement right there. I like felt in my internal core as like a human person where I'm like, oh
Yes.
shit. You know what I mean? Where it's
Ah.
like it's a little too close to home, but you're like, but I want to play it. But you're at the same time like,
I mean, were other examples of characters that I've built in this. I once made a I think it was a oh no, what was it? I'm missing it up. I made a vicious warrior who I think it was like works the back alleys or something like that. Like
oh
basically I made a
man,
muscle mommy, which was really good.
this is very good. Awesome. So
But
we've
yeah,
got
it does.
our intuitive
got it.
adept who learns quickly.
An intuitive adept who works quickly, which because this actually just calculates out our pools automatically, so we don't need to worry about. We can fill it out into our character sheet now.
Awesome. We're gonna scroll through this and I can try and zoom in more better for chat really quick so we can see these, how the stats break out.
So yeah, each one of these adds something a little bit different to your pool. And my character wound up with a very, very high intellect, really low might, and not so great speed, which is on par for me as a human. I'm not very fast, but I can think my way through things.
Oh, it's Pascal.
Pascal.
Yeah. Pascal has entered the chat and aggressively and
Oh,
with much circumstance.
Pomp and circumstance.
So
these 3 7. So these are your pools. You've got might, speed, and intellect. So might obviously is your strong stat, how well you can lift things, push things, etc. Climb. Your speed stat is your running away or any sort of agility, and your intellect obviously is your thinky stat, your big brain time. And in the system, each of those pools get used for different things, because the beautiful thing about the system too is your GM never rolls a die.
yes.
It is if you want to do something, your GM will ask you to make a roll with a difficulty, which I actually have up here. I've got.
Oh, nice. Holy cow.
That's fun.
I like that a lot.
So this actually has what your task difficulty is and what target number you'll need to hit.
This is so cool. The more games I play where GMs don't have to roll dice, the happier I am. And the thought of me, like, as someone who runs a game, having to like touch a dice is becoming like just
contentious.
Ew. Just ew. I don't want to. Don't make me.
It's ruined me. I run so many games where the GM doesn't have to roll anything that sometimes I'll come to the table as a player and be like, I need dice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let me go find those.
Well, the thing is like if you want to attack something, the GM will make you make a roll. If an enemy attacks you, you need to make a roll to avoid it.
Perfect.
That's how it works. And there's things that you can do. So your task difficulty goes all the way from 0 to 10, where you'll need like a target number of 30. But on a 20-sided die, you can't roll that. How you get around that is you spend points from your pool to lower the difficulty, or you spend edge to lower the
Okay.
difficulty.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I get to choose 4 adept abilities.
All right, all right.
Which, let's have a quick look at these abilities.
So we've got ward, shatter, distortion, push. I love in TTRPGs like how we name stuff, because again, like push, like my Mistborn brain kicks in, and then we're talking like push and pull on metals and stuff, but it's just like shove, kick. Like I love it.
Exactly.
Thinking about the famous 2009 Chris Evans movie Push when you hear that.
No,
that is a
Keegan.
good movie.
Strangely enough, that is not the first thing that comes to my mind.
Hey, I'll hear no slander about that movie. That was actually
none.
not bad.
Every bad, like late 2000s, early 2010s, like bad superhero action movie, like in a week once. It was like Push, Wanted, all the one
Amazing.
named ones.
I mean,
Blink. Here we go.
What was it? My partner has this theory where like Push and Jumper, the one with Hayden Christensen.
Yes.
Oh
that
my
one too.
gosh.
Like
That's what I was thinking.
Push, Jumper, and there's another one that there's like he has this running theory that they're all in the same universe.
They could be like them in like I Am Number 4 or something.
Yeah.
Is it I Am Number 4, or is it just called 4?
No,
I think it's I Am Number 4.
I think I Am Number 4 is a movie, but the one that I think you're thinking of, there's 9, which is about the little weird puppet people.
Oh, you're right. And it's so cute. And creepy.
In the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at these things so that I can actually see what they do. Ward is a shield of magical energy. Not so much with that. Let me just do. There we go. I've got it alphabetized. So we'll go to S to try and figure out what shatter is. I'm very good at breaking things. I don't know if I'm magically good at breaking things. Well, maybe. I don't know. That does just sound fun to me. Let's see. Distortion. I'm just scrolling through.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Please stand
No, you're
by.
good.
There's a lot of rating in TTRPGs, it turns out.
There is, and this is a 450-page book, as I mentioned earlier.
There's been lots of pages.
Distortion. Modifies how a willing creature within short range reflects light for 1 minute. I hide things well.
Ooh,
that's just ADHD time blindness. I'm going for that one, definitely.
Yeah, perfect.
That's like I put down my keys and I don't know where I put them.
And does it really matter? I mean, it will when you try to find them, but until then, no.
Mm-mm. And push is, let's see. Telekinetically pushing something. Not so much with that, but onslaught. What's that one? That one's, oh, that's just like a psychic blast.
Ooh. There we go. We've got Offended Defender in the chat saying Ward and Onslaught are the bread and butter of an adept.
I know, but I'm also building myself, which if anybody that knows anything about me in TTRPGs, I also like to build not ideal characters just because they're fun. That is one of my TTRPG sins is min-maxing. Who needs it?
For real. I wouldn't even call it a sin because I feel like that's having like inherent weaknesses that are immediately apparent is what gives you like that room to actually grow and change and become like a different character over the course of the campaign, if that makes sense. Like
Exactly.
that's I feel like that's what we're all really like wanting to do is like take our weird little gremlin character with their horrible stats and have them achieve godhood slowly over time, but still maintaining that one big old flaw. Cause like I it- I don't know. Like I don't want to sometimes I want to play gods, sure, but I still want that god to be like maybe a bit of a dick. So I can like still have that room to play
Listen,
around.
if I can cast the grease spell and make Tiamat trip, I will.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's get weird with this.
Yes. TTRPGs are about getting weird. Period.
Ooh, okay. So that's what resonance field does. It's like a little sort of shimmering field of light. Far step is basically your jump spell. Scan, though. Scan sounds intriguing to me.
And what is
Oh,
what is
yeah.
scan?
Scan is you scan an area of equal to 10 feet, including all objects and creatures within that area. It must be within short range. Scanning a creature or object always reveals the level, whatever facts the GM feels pertinent about it. That's just me being extra observant. So I'm gonna go for scan. That
I like that.
happens.
Would
Um,
you say that this is something that you experience in your day-to-day often where you just look at a person and you go, "I will now know everything about you."
that's just I feel like that's just my I have a tendency to do get vibes about
Mhm.
folks. I'm just like, I don't know. I got and then usually I'll get someone else to be like, "Hey, give me a vibe check," and they're like, "Yeah, you're not half wrong about that." Okay, cool, good to know. Good to know. Um, erase memories. Uh,
Ooh.
but I feel like that ends up getting used on myself more often than not.
You walk through a door and you forget everything.
Why did I come to this room again?
It's like there's
There's something
forbidden
that I
knowledge
did.
that can only exist in certain rooms, and the second you walk through a doorway, it's
Mm,
gone.
because it's like entering a new loading screen on a map.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, like all these new quests pop up, and
Yeah.
like
The
you
one that
enter a
you
new
had
area,
before does not
does
even
not
matter.
exist.
Mhm. I
And
feel
then
I feel like
no,
that can
that's
be
it.
hard to explain to some people though too, because it's like the number of times it's just I walk into a room and I go, I was here for something and I'll never
Listen,
know.
I have opened a tab on Internet Explorer to look up, or like, why did I say Internet Explorer? God,
It's
I was
because
like,
you
that's
pay.
really specific.
like I've opened up a tab on like a browser to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
look for
The thing
something.
you explore the internet with. We get
Yes,
you.
exactly. And like I've instantly forgot what I was about to Google
Right.
just by opening that new tab.
Right.
Uh, and then last, just because it's fun, let's do hedge magic.
Ooh, I've been staring at that and
Gotta.
I need to know what it is.
So hedge magic is like basic tricks, like prestidigitation. You can change
Yes.
the color, basic appearance of a small object. You can clean an area. You can mend a broken object. You can prepare but not create food, and so on.
This
It's
is
just
very good.
it's
I
just
love
real
prepare,
basic.
not create food.
Yeah, you can't make it out of nothing.
Your hedge magic is just cooking.
Yeah,
I like it though. Like it's very I don't it feels particularly where we're doing that like more realistic but like a little supernatural. You're like the witch kind of stirring her coffee with her finger kind of a thing. Like it's just that
yeah.
just subtle enough.
You can't use head magic to harm anybody, but
What?
yeah, but you can use it to like help
I
do
like
things.
this more now. Like I
I
think it's cooler.
That's because that's actually written as like you cannot use this to harm another creature or object.
Oh wow.
You just you can just like do little fun things with it. You can cause small objects to float through the air, clean a small area, mend a broken object, prepare but not create food.
You
So
can't
if
do it.
you could just boop a steak and the steak is cooked to your specifications.
I like the idea this is like ritual magic and it takes you an hour to do it. Just
And somebody walks in and you have like all the lights are out. You got 6 candles that have been like melted to like all the way onto the table. You're in your special hedge magic robe. It's just an apron that says "Kiss the
Yeah.
chef." You're just
Kiss the cook.
over. You're just
they come in
over
and they're
the
like,
steak.
"What are you doing?" And you're like, "I'm mixing my potion ingredients." And it's like, that's just cookie dough.
But they're magic
You-
cookies.
You turn in like a voice of a demon. It's like, "Leave me alone. They're not ready." And your eyes like glow a little bit.
They'll be ready in 10 minutes.
Tell your brother dinner's ready. It's so good. Oh no.
Okay,
gosh.
perfect. I love it so much. So yeah, that's the basics of character creation. So the skills that it winds up giving you the skills that you're trained with. So I'm skilled with perception. I can solve problems with multiple solutions. So I can figure out exactly how to get something done. My specials are I know what to do, distortion, scan, race memories, and hedge magic. I don't actually have any inabilities, which is interesting.
Oh.
The one that I picked ended up not giving me any inabilities. And then I've got some equipment,
I
but
love
I've also
2
go ahead.
expensive items. Again, just reading this without the context of the game. 2
Yeah.
expensive items. It's a phone and not for Keegan, but for me, it's a phone and it's a car. Like those are my 2 expensive items.
Yeah.
I don't even have an expensive phone anymore. Look at this. I
Look
can't
at
see
that.
on stream, remember? It's like
Look.
wildly cracked. It's the whole screen spider webbed.
Yeah, 2 expensive items, 2 moderately priced items, 4 inexpensive items, and then there's also ciphers, which it's one of the reasons why it's called the Cypher System. Ciphers are one-use magical items.
Oh, very cool.
So like a healing potion is a one-use magical item.
Right.
But it also could be something like it can create anti-gravity in a room for 10 minutes.
Right. Are the ciphers predetermined, or is that something that you get to kind of like
That's something that you
narratively
can
choose?
choose. You can narratively
So
choose.
cool. I love this.
And then clothing, obviously.
Obviously.
But it also says at the bottom, player intrusions. Now, as a GM, you can, that's sort of how you make your players' lives a little bit more interesting, is you can introduce intrusions. They give your players experience. So say you have a player that is scaling a cliff. And as a GM intrusion, you could say, okay, well, as you're scaling this cliff, you go to reach for the next handhold and it begins to sort of crumble and give away, which is a GM intrusion.
Gotcha.
You can, as a player, what you can do is you can take the intrusion and deal with the consequences and then pass 2 experience along to your fellow, or you take an experience and then you give an experience to another player.
Oh, nice.
So that to help them out on their next deal. And then you can also use your experience to negate GM intrusions. You can use it to level up your character. But as players, you can also spend an experience point to introduce a player intrusion. So, for example, the GM's like, okay, this big evil computer is trying to take over the world. As a player, I can be like, can I spend the experience for an advantageous malfunction?
Ooh. That's cool.
Or
Oh,
you're trying to
man.
solve a mystery. Hey, GM, can I spend an experience for a convenient idea on how to fix this? Or I've fallen down and my gear was in my backpack. And my gear was in my backpack. I heard a crunch, but can I reach into my backpack and find the one item that I need inexplicably unbroken?
Ooh, I like that a whole bunch. I love anytime games give you that like that very cinematic like self-insert, you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah,
like,
that little
no,
bit of
I got this. I got this. Like
Yeah. I was in a game once. It was a science fiction system, and we had to go
Mhm.
through a checkpoint. And my character had already previously established that I had been there before. And I'm like, you know what? I have this player intrusion that I can play. Can I spend an experience point to do this player intrusion? It's the intrusion was um, a friend in low places or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, hey, can I know this border patrol guard
This is
to
very
like
good.
let us through?
Mhm.
And the GM was like, I didn't even think that that was a thing that you could do. And I'm like, it is.
Yes.
Jim, how's the wife and kids? How's the
That's
wife and kids? They're good? Awesome. Oh, it's so
neat.
good to see you. Hey, listen, like me and my friends, we're just trying to get through here. Would you be able to, help us out?
Right.
And it worked.
This is wonderful. But again, those like flip the script, like give the power back to the player kind of moments, and anytime a system lets you do that, uh, it just top tier. Because really, like I think a lot of the times with games, it becomes very much the GM has to know everything that's going to happen. The GM's going to roll dice, and they're going to tell you the consequences and anything like that. And what I love about things like this in systems is it hands the power back to the players. And first of all, it makes the GM feel like a player now because they don't know what's going to happen. And like
Exactly.
anytime you can make the GM feel like they're actually playing and engaging the game rather than like herding cats, like 10 out of 10, do like
Best time.
more of that, please.
I'm a like I said, there's reasons why I'm a big fan of this system,
Right.
and what you can do with it. Because this
Uh,
is just one character. There are
right.
infinite combinations that you can make to make different characters.
Right. 100%. So I'm going to ask, like, as someone who's played the system a lot, what do you feel like you've learned from playing it? Like both
Ooh.
like from like a system perspective and just like as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the system a lot, and I've also run the system a lot. At Gen Con this year, I was actually one of the GMs for the game room for Monty Cook. Um, so I've learned that I do very much like uh, that idea where there's a give and take, like you mentioned, um, that you can just be caught off guard by something the players do. And being able to sort of roll with those punches is definitely like an excellent skill to have in your GM toolkit. Being able to know that one of your players can just dodge the
Right.
traps that you laid out, because that's one of the intrusions that they can spend money, or
Mhm.
they can spend their experience on. Um, and it definitely, with something as sort of open world, it also it's very good for sort of helping spark that imagination. Um, it Something that I sort of like struggle with is uh mostly because of my ADHD, is like prepping and like getting everything sort of like together and organized, unless I like am in one of those moods. But I could just throw things at a dartboard with this and be like, okay, let's do this. And I like that it sort of gives me more of a framework to work with.
Mhm. Would you say that this, what I'm hearing you say, but I would be curious if you would agree, is that this system kind of leans into your natural strengths as like a player, as a GM? Would
I'd
you
say
agree with
so.
that?
I would agree with that. I feel like it does give you a little bit more room for role play, which is something that I, as a GM, like to do. I like to riff off my players a lot. And the fact that this actually gives you the chance to is definitely something that I very much enjoy.
Um, do you feel like there's anything in this system that you, like, as someone who's running it and everything, wish that it did like better, or that you felt like
Ooh,
didn't quite get what you needed from it?
um, so one of the things that one of my biggest sort of I wouldn't say it's a gripe, but I guess it kind of is like I mentioned, 450-page book. It is
Yeah.
very expansive. In some cases, it can be a little bit too expansive.
Mm.
I kind of wish, also, like, as a graphic designer, I kind of wish, like, there was a more of a streamlined design, like, there was more like a UX flow for how you create a character rather than having to go, you go to turn to it feels like a choose your own adventure, turn to this page, turn to this page, turn to this page. Oh, no, you're dead.
You turned too many pages, and now you're too sleepy to go on.
You're too sleepy to go on. So it can definitely, like, give you a little bit of choice paralysis.
Mhm.
I feel like some things could be organized a little bit differently to flow better, for creation and the like.
Mhm. I'm again, like, the more games I play, like, there are a couple of things that continue to stand out to me is, like, can I learn to play it in, like, 15 minutes? How much reading do I have to do? And if I'm the
Um,
GM, do I have to roll dice?
yeah. So here's the thing is, uh, you can run a basic Cypher System adventure, if uh, it does take quite a bit of prep work, I will
Hmm.
say. I will say. Which I think is also one of my weaknesses, is, like, I've run Star Trek for you. Do you know how much
Yeah.
prep I was doing? Like, maybe 5 minutes before the game.
Here's the thing about it, though, and this is why I think that you're phenomenal in this space, and, like, enjoy, like, playing with you so much, is it never felt like you hadn't, like, prepped and, like, knew where we were gonna go. And, like, again, for me, it was incredibly informative because I'm the well, I'm working on it, but I was the opposite. When I ran like a campaign, I was doing hours of prep. I have outlines written and like all of my information, just like tons, like pages and pages. I was running a game once a month because I was just like over prepping to the max because I was like I have to and
This
now
is
don't
so
go for
funny
it.
to hear because I know the first game I played with you, your entire page of notes was just the word tractor beam.
Correct. Correct.
Well I think it's also, I think it's also comes down to, um, trusting your players,
Hmm.
because a lot of the times I rely on my players quite a bit to lead the narrative and sort of set the stage for what comes next,
Hmm.
which is why I think that, I wasn't having to prep quite so much, because I knew where you were going in a
Hmm.
lot of the in a lot of the circumstance. And I think that also is something that is good about this system is, some of it is just trusting your players, and some of it is baked in because if you, look at certain things for certain characters, they actually have, like, plot hooks invested in, sort of baked into the book. It's like this person might owe someone some money,
Right.
uh, which you can use to sort of lean into the next portion of the narrative. And I think also the ability that with characters being able to sort of, like, move and shape it, it does make it a little bit more flexible as a GM.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think it gives that the magic is like in the moments where you find out. And so it leaves room for that rather than just I'm the GM and I'm putting you on this train and here we go. Look at all my neat and interesting ideas, everybody.
Mhm.
Like,
Um, Valix Butterfly did ask, the Star Trek game was not Cypher System. Star Trek Adventures is by Modifius, which is another amazing, great
mhm,
system.
a lot of fun.
Terribly designed books because, if you think that this is, complex and uh, hard
Oh,
to do, it gets, it gets to be a lot.
A lot more different.
Mhm,
Um
mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and move us to a quick break because we're just about to the hour point. So we're gonna hop away. We're gonna take a quick break. So everybody, go ahead and refill your water, get some coffee, take a little nap if you need it, if you're still a little sleepy. And we will be back. We'll be
All
back
right.
in like I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes.
cool.
Okay, see you in a bit.
And we're
And we're
back.
back.
We're back. And you were unmuted that time.
Heck
I'm so proud
yeah.
of me.
And we did a good job.
that joke. I do it every time.
I know it. I think it's great. Welcome back to us and to chat. We're here with the incredible Anita, one of the founders of Critical Misses, a phenomenal little TTRPG community. And just before we get too much further, Anita, can you tell us a little bit about Critical Misses and what makes it so great?
So yeah, Critical Miss is a Twitch channel and a kind of a community, maybe a little bit. We do actual plays. We've got a talk show, Morning Ritual, with my partner in crime, the Noir Enigma. It kind of all started just after lockdown started. Noir and I were in a game, and they got disrespected quite harshly, and up and quit. And we then got extremely high on a call and decided that we were going to start our own channel with blackjack and hookers. But forget the hookers and the blackjack, just a channel.
Mhm.
Oh,
This is wonderful.
So yeah, we do actual plays. I'm actually, I guess I can put this out there. If folks have pitches for shows that they want to run, I'm going to be putting out on Monday. I'm going to be putting out our call for new shows on the channel. So if you want to run something, it's just going to be a short
Ooh.
season, probably like between 4 and 6 episodes. So good for like your mini shots or for your long shots. And yeah, well, just something to tie us over for the winter time. And if you want to maybe play a game, you can also sign up for that as well. But yeah, that's going to happen on Monday.
Nice.
I'm slowly starting to get back in because I moved and my like entire
Mhm.
life kind of got upended for a little bit there. So I also might have been hitting the edge of burnout at the same time.
Oh no.
mhm.
Oh no, 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 no.
S-
Burnout
A
is real.
classic.
Why wouldn't you get real tired and real sleepy right when you need to do all of the things?
Exactly, right? That's the exact
Mhm.
same. So we're going to start building up, doing a little bit more shows. I want to start, I've got a couple show concepts that don't actually involve any players, but some might involve like maybe an extra player. So I
Ooh.
want to start, there's a game system, well, not a system, but a program that I want to start called Solo Act,
Oh,
where
nice.
I play through just a solo RPG.
Oh, that'll be so
And
fun.
see how it goes. And then we were going to do a 2-player Tuesday where it's a me and another player just play a 2-player RPG. That's actually going to stay. I'm going to be playing. What's the name of this game? It's so good. It's called I Have the High Ground.
Nice.
Yes.
And I'm going to be playing that with my good friend Chaotic Darby.
Darby's a good bean.
I love One Whole Darby.
Mhm.
Me and that possum are going to be sword fighting and ready witty reparteeing and flapping capes all over the place.
This is very good. This is very good. Are there so like you were talking about like bringing on other shows, other games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are there like particular systems or like genres, ideas that you're hopeful that people will explore?
So we try to avoid 5e. Uh,
Right.
we've had a couple 5e games on the channel. Kingsguard was one of them. That's going to be coming back as maybe a Pathfinder as soon as Noir ends up clearing time because they're so busy all the time. And we had a Humblewood game, which is 5e based. That was called Forest and Flame. So we like new systems, indie systems, just like any sort of like if it's like a little different. We like to sort of spotlight just not 5e games on the channel.
This
Um,
this is a message near and dear to our hearts. Here on Plus One EXP. For sure. Are there any systems in particular that you are looking forward to like playing,
ooh,
engaging with?
mm, um, I really want to try and do a Alice is Missing one shot.
Mm, same.
Um, it's I really want to play that game so bad.
It looks really good. I've heard good things about it.
I'm unfamiliar, so I need you to teach me.
So Alice is Missing is a TTRPG that is played in complete silence.
Okay.
You and your friends are texting to each other, trying to find a missing girl, Alice, in your small town. And the game is actually progresses to a soundtrack. There is music for this game that times everything out. So at certain timestamps, the music will change, and that's when the game progresses. It's a beautiful game. At the beginning of the game, you all individually, privately record a voicemail to Alice, and each of you have some sort of relation to her. Like you could be like her partner or like boyfriend, girlfriend.
Right.
You could be like her best friend. You could be like a frenemy kind of deal. And each of you individually record a voicemail privately to Alice. And whether or not you find her, you could find her alive, you could find her dead, you could find her somewhere like in hurt. And at the end of the game, you play the voicemails. So it's like big feels, big emotions, and like you play it completely in silence. You don't talk to the other players.
Yeah, it looked really good. I
It's
would
by
have such
Hunter's
a
Entertainment,
problem
yeah.
not talking, but
I would. Can you imagine the two of us just staring at each other, like
staring daggers through the camera at each other.
just tapping, like typing angrily sounds? I feel like
getting little shards of glass in my finger.
for the art, suffer for the art. Anytime I feel like I get a comprehension of what TTRPGs can be, somebody's like, but what if it was an auditory experience? And it's like,
but yeah, there's goes through musical changes for each act of the game, which I think is right up your alley, Sarah.
100% it is. 100%
it's all instrumental, and I believe it's safe for stream too, so you can play it on stream.
This is very cool. Keegan will be adding this to our list of things.
Yeah, well, let's see. I always feel weird. I don't know how it's going to translate to like AP, just because like as a viewer, you don't have access to my text messages.
Right. It would have to be like
completely quiet.
So, just watch us. Be very
you
interesting.
Actually set up a Discord server.
Yeah, there's a Roll20 for it as well, which is really nice.
There is actually a Roll20 for it. So you would need like maybe an individual person producing who could see everything, I think.
Yeah.
But it was also free on Roll20 until the end of the month. Roll20 until the end of the month of October. So I picked it up during.
Nice.
So
during the spooky months.
I did pick it up during the spooky season. Because yeah, Roll20 did have a couple of free games that were available. Not
I own it in
too
print
long ago.
Somewhere. I don't think it's in here with me right now because I think I brought it down for Halloween and then didn't play it. But
it's very good.
I'm very excited to play that. I kind of also I don't know how I would do it, but I'd want to play Dread on stream as well.
Dread would be so fun.
Dread would be so fun, but it's hard to get sorry. I can't say
tumbling block tower.
A tumbling block tower. To work for that. Maybe that would be like I don't know. One thing I kind of like, this is like my pie in the sky dream, is I'd like to do a studio game one day.
Yeah.
And I think Dread would be very good for a studio game.
Yeah, Dread, you really need to be in person for. Like, there's some ways around it for things like The Wretched and other games that use a tumbling block tower, where it's like roll enough dice when the pool's gone, they're done, and it's like, okay, cool, that works.
Yeah, I think there's also
for Dread where everybody has to pull from the tower. It's just much
think
harder.
There are online tumbling block towers, like through what's it called?
They suck. They suck so bad. I've tried this.
Yeah. Was it Tabletop Simulator might have one?
Yeah. Tabletop Simulator on Steam has a tumbling block tower. There's also a few free ones you can just use that are like browser based, and they really suck.
Oh no.
Yeah. The physics isn't quite there.
Yeah. In their defense, I don't know how you would make it work.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting one. Like, how would you even set up, like, I don't know, the tech in me is like, how would you set up a stream? You could do it in like maybe a VR chat.
Yeah,
You
I was
could
gonna
set up
say
a
there's
tumbling block
probably you could do
tower.
it in VR, right?
Yeah.
But
But then
but
you'd have
like
like
I just
everybody with
died
like the
inside as you
goggles on.
said that. Yeah, you just died. Like the logistics of that. Like your girl can barely handle like sharing a PDF, let alone like hopping
I will
into a
deal with the
VR.
streaming for this one for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I like anytime anyone asks me streaming questions at all, I'm always like, I'm the wrong. I can tell you how to do it, but it'll be wrong, it'll be janky, and it won't make sense to literally anyone else.
I don't know. I find that like when I'm handling tech or when I'm doing tech, uh, I always suck at it at first, but then I just end up tweaking it until I get halfway okay at it. Sucking at
Right.
something is the first step to being kind of good at something. To quote, I think it was Jake the dog that said that. The wise sage, Jake the dog.
The wise sage that is Jake. But I think like the with the actual play, like I guess the question I have for you is this isn't a thing that kind of like sticks with me a lot, right? Because you can play these games at home with friends and you can
Yeah.
do that, but there's like a particular magic to like the actual play. What do you think that is? Where do you think that comes from?
Like to the remote actual play, you're saying?
Yeah, but
Or
well, just like the fact that we're like streaming it at all. You know what I mean?
mm, mm, mm. Ooh. So like the magic to the remote actual play to like getting it. I think it's just the fact that I think we spoke about this a little bit in the green room before we were like going live, is that like during quarantine, I think we were all just like so desperate for human contact
Right.
that we cobbled together technology and bullied companies into like changing things enough so that we could like just be together, because I feel like it's just also such a communal experience, and the fact that you can do it from so far away is in itself a kind it technology is magic. It is definitely like Clark's third law, where it's like any sort of technology that is suitably advanced enough is indistinguishable from magic. And I truly believe that like if I had told myself like when I started playing TTRPGs, I started playing like D&D 3.5 in high school with like my boyfriend at the time and like all his
Mhm.
friends.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if I had told myself that like, hey, you kind of chat with people online, did you know that you could actually see them with like video chat and like you could play a game together? If someone had told me that as like like scrawny 18-year-old kid, like you can actually do that and people will watch you, and it's like it's its own sort of like weird communal experience. I feel like I my teenage self would be like, that sounds so cool, but I don't know that I believe you.
Mhm.
And the fact that like you can get like folks were ooh, ooh, I just got that message. Yes. A hundred times yes, please.
Okay, cool.
Uh
We'll just casually announce it at the end of stream. It's great. Stick around to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stick
yeah.
around to understand the context behind the scenes. I feel like it is magic in the fact that we as humans decided that being alone isn't enough.
Mhm.
And I just saw Pascal
Pascal's
curl
so
up behind that
cute.
blanket, and it's the
I'm losing
Yeah.
cutest
my
thing in the
mind.
world. It's really
Yeah.
distracting.
I
And
d-
that
It's stream, you
no one
can't
on
see
stream
it.
can see it.
But
Yeah.
behind me, Pascal, I've got my little chair, and Pascal is burrowing in her little blankie. She's getting all cozy, but her little butt stuck out for just a second. It's
it
very
was so
cute.
cute.
Oh my god.
Um, uh, the fact that we all agreed that being by ourselves wasn't enough,
Mhm.
and we needed to create spaces in which we could be together, even though we were like isolated is in
Right.
itself a kind of magic, and it's kind of speaks to like the human experience that we are communal creatures. We aren't antisocial by nature. We want to be with other people.
I don't know about ready to go, but fuel.
So one of the things here on Plus One EXP is, and Keegan said it in our little opening spiel, is helping designers find players for their games and helping players find games that they'll love. And I think that there's like an interesting, because I started on the like actual play side of just like playing games, mostly the dragon game. And like it was through networking and specifically meeting Keegan that I was able to kind of like see and like have the indie side or the game design side of this space like open up. What are your like, how do you feel like as a player, how do you find new systems to play? What is the thing that makes a new system stand out to you and make you think like, I want to play that? Because I think that's a nut that like a lot of designers like they have that question and they don't have the answer.
I feel like I get put to like a really advantageous position because occasionally people will just buy me games and I'm just like, oh, okay, this looks cool. So on Gen Con for the like last week and for the next 2 weeks, I'm running a game called No Nut November.
Oh my god.
Sure.
Like just it's Squirrels of the Post-Apocalypse.
Oh
That's
my
what we were all
gosh.
thinking. It was Squirrels of the
That's what I thought it was
the
gonna
name sounded-
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, I'm as surprised as anybody that the company Gen Con would allow me to play a game called No Nut November on stream.
This is very good.
So I like this sounds silly, but I like pithy names. I am one of those I am trash. I like to judge a book by its cover. I like good art. And like I like fun concepts. I think that'll also hook me. So there's a couple. I've played quite a few indie games on the channel. For a while there, we had a program called System Crash where we would just play a lot of times it was an indie RPG, but we would play it top to bottom with no prep and no clue. So we would stress test quite a few of the games. One of the ones that we did was Three Kobolds in a Trench Coat, which is a really fun game. We've also played Five Goblins, which is just like you're a bunch of goblins just running around causing chaos.
Very good.
And like I said, I like if you can give me like a good like we can build off of that.
Gotcha. It looks like my stream is hiccuping a little bit.
Yeah, I was noticing. I think we're at like for some reason we're at 12 minutes right now.
Yeah, it
Oh.
just did. It just skipped again, and I'm not sure. Like, it never like fully disconnected or. And so, sorry about that, chat. But it looks like we're back now. So, fun.
Twitch's servers have been a little bit hinky, at least from me. I've noticed.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
our end, the Google call's been staying up, which means for once, Sarah, it's not your internet.
For once, it's not me. I'm not the problem. Generally speaking, it is.
No, it might actually be a Twitch server error, by the looks of things.
Gotcha.
This has been a pretty clear pretty clear call so far.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems. And I just looked over and it was like reconnecting. I was like, oh, well, whoops. Yeah, I think one of there's a I'm gonna say the dreaded word. There's a discourse going on. Discourse happening in
CD
the
Pony, yes.
Yeah. Like it just there's a lot of conversation around, like what games should we be playing? What should we be giving it attention to? and a lot of stuff. And I think particularly from like the actual player side of things, I don't know if people are hesitant to try new games, if it just seems inaccessible, or if it's just like I want my thing to be successful and this one particular game is too large to fail. But I think that there's kind of helping bridge that gap between not only actual play but just people being willing to try new games, and branch out into some of these incredible systems that like we've talked about, or like that I've played. Like Keegan and I just played The Zone. What was that, last week? It blew my
Yeah,
freaking
right before
mind.
Halloween.
What's
It was
the
so
zone?
good. Oh my gosh. Let me
Give
tell
me
you
the
about this
pitch.
game. So the pitch is you are human beings who are entering the zone, which is a phenomenon that's happening. Everybody who's gone in hasn't come out. There's a rumor that at the center of the zone, it will grant you a wish. And it's very like horror. Think like horror movie. Only
But
one
it's
person will
specifically based
survive.
on annihilation, among
Oh, that's
other
that's
things.
the immediate what I thought it was like. Is that sounds a
Yes.
lot like Annihilation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very Annihilation themed. He does get away from it very good. I would say it's like you're playing Annihilation, but like
Yeah.
it's Annihilation.
uh but it was very like that narrative based. So it's all like you set up scenes where you introduce additional problems, like saying something like it's not that easy, or something's not right here, or what was the describe the move one? I can't remember. Or
I want to
describe the
call it paint the
scene.
scene, but I know it's not
Yeah,
that.
it's like set the scene or something like that. And it's you and a group of people, you move through these different areas and you tell a story together.
Yeah.
And
To have a look at it. Oh, you can just make a game.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's free to play.
Oh, that's
Which is
incredible.
it's legitimately incredible. Raph did great work.
it was
We love Raph on this channel.
truly phenomenal. But it's that thing where it's like I know that people in the actual play space and like players, like that's what we want, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what we were trying to do. We're trying to direct little mini movies in our mind's eyes and like feel those like feelings. Here's this amazing game that does that so effortlessly, but we're still gonna like prop up and continue to engage with like this other thing that like doesn't do what we want it to do fully, or like does questionable things when it comes to people of color and other areas. And it's I don't know, like it's an interest, like I specifically from the player side, I wonder how we can kind of shift that.
uh, getting away from the dragon game is it is very, very difficult, I think. And I think that it's so hard because okay, this is going to sound like a little bit of a tangent. The about the whole the curse of when you're in theater, the curse of the word Macbeth.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You always call it the Scottish play. Now, the reason for this, there's actually backstory about why that's a curse. It's not actually a curse. It's because in the day when you were doing theater productions and you were trying to make your own play, and you'd start like putting out your play at playhouses, your own original productions. If your play, like if your audiences didn't react well to the play that you were putting out, your own original creation, if the audiences didn't react well to it, you would swap it out for Macbeth because everybody knows
Oh.
Shakespeare by rote, and you still have to pay your cast, and you still have to pay your players. So they would switch out the original production for Macbeth most times, which is why it becomes a curse. It's a curse on your own original production, right?
Right.
And I think that's sort of the idea behind why people keep going back to Dungeons and Dragons. It is the Macbeth of actual play because everybody knows 5e. because it's so ubiquitous. And I think that's why people cling on to it so much. And it almost becomes like its own sort of like, well, I mean, I can throw together a 5e scenario. That's not a big deal. I can do that in my sleep. But making your own original story using a brand new system is very difficult, especially when you get to the playtest stage and you want to, and you notice that there are some problems with mechanics, and you kind of have to go back to the drawing board, right?
No. Wow.
And I'm just like, come on, man.
Right. Right.
Go with it here.
Right.
Like, it's not.
There's more to it. There's more than just this one. But I think that's a valid point, right? Like it's
And
the
Vampire the
shorthand.
Masquerade came out in the 90s. Like, it's not a new game, but the fact that you would refer to it as Vampires D&D or
You know.
Star Trek D&D or
The idea of Star Trek D&D is so funny to me.
listen, with the holodeck, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's just normal D&D. We just imagine that it's
All the holodeck is a LARP scenario.
yeah, they're just it's Star Trek characters LARPing D&D. Okay. No, I'm back in actually. I'm cool with Star Trek D&D.
Keegan was out, but now they're in. Keegan, like
I don't even like Star Trek. That's the wild part.
Get out. Everyone likes Star Trek. What are you saying?
I'm sorry, I had a Star Wars family.
See, I came from one of those like
agnostic. I
we
like
like both. Yeah, we liked both. I'm such a never mind.
I will
I'm gonna
say, in
drop.
terms of systems, I do very much like Star Trek Adventures over the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game.
Oh, get
And I played
out!
both.
Fantasy Flight
You
Star
don't
Wars
need-
game
you
is
don't
one of my
need
favorite
Dice
RPGs.
for everything. You don't need bespoke dice.
It's an incredible series of bespoke dice.
And they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but like, if I didn't have
The Discord bot to roll them for you.
if I did not have like the Discord bot, or we were
I'm
using
yelling so loud about Star Wars dice that my husband has come in the room to mention that he loves the Star Wars bespoke dice. Yeah, that's what
I love Keegan at the beginnings. Like, I hate playing games with dice. When they're like, I have to roll dice, I have to go find my dice. That's awful. To now, like, no, give me dice for everything. I need a special bot to roll my dice.
Look, I have such a soft spot for that game. We ran like a 6-month long weekly campaign because I have my play group at home. We run every week. Probably 6 months of playing Fantasy Flight game Star Wars, and it's great. It's one of the best games ever written.
It's a great game, but if I did not have the RPG sessions bot, because that's what we used when I was running it. I was over on Q Times. We were doing an Age of Rebellion game called Ember Squad, which is going to be coming back for a second season. I'm very excited about that. I can play my
Nice.
Bothan diplomat.
Nice.
But if I didn't have the RPG sessions to be like, click, this is what I'm rolling, I would have no idea. Like I said, you don't need bespoke dice for everything.
My husband, in our defense, my husband works at our local game store.
Oh, that's fair. That's valid.
We bought all of the dice before they, because they don't produce they might again. For a very long time, they weren't producing the Star Wars specific Fantasy Flight Games dice. You could only get the normal Genesis system dice, which are the same. They just have different looking pips on them.
Yeah, you just kind of got to translate between pips.
Yeah, which is frustrating. We didn't have to do that.
Good night.
It's too many dice. It's too many dice. It is so good. It's so fun. It's so incredibly fun. But I need that dice roller for that one. I need that dice roller.
Joe hopped in the chat to talk about Star Wars.
It said Star Wars and appeared.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, with the Star Trek game, it's 2d20 and you roll low.
Whatever.
It's beautiful. Like, I like the fact that it's
upset about bad mouthing Star Wars Fantasy Flight games for the rest of this conversation.
This is now a Star Wars
This is
Fantasy
what woke
Flight
me up.
We'll get over it, or we won't.
Yeah,
Either way.
it's like I said, fun game. not everything needs a bespoke set of
But
dice.
that's the thing about games, right? Is finding the ones that work for you and knowing
Right?
like what you're into, what you want. And like you can't do that unless you kind of break out of that default setting of this is the game. Like frankly, and Keegan referenced it earlier, and this is, I mean, I guess it's technically a plug, but it's also not. But Renegade Racers, like that's my go-to. I just need to run a game real quick. Like I ran a
Yeah.
game with a 2-word plot, and like it was fine. Like I zero prep. Literally, I was just like, I don't know, but it's gonna have tractor beams in it, and like
Tractor
that was
beams.
it.
That's your note.
Yeah, it was literally the tractor beam, and it was perfect.
I like running a game off of like basically a sentence that is less than 5 words.
Right.
I
Anything
had
that can let you
owlbear
do
in a
that.
frilly dress
This is
as
very
a
good.
prompt once, and ran an entire session off of that. It was great.
And but that's like giving yourself, I think a lot of that comes with like not taking it too seriously. Number 1.
Yeah.
But like I would say that my ability to do that even with the dragon game came
Oh
from
no, Joe,
uh-oh.
I can't hear any audio. Is that just me?
I think it's
I
just
hope
you.
not. I think
Or
it's
we
just you.
I'm showing that we have levels. Nobody
Okay, I
else has
think it's
said
just
anything.
Joe. Joe, have you considered unmuting your computer?
Joe, have you tried turning it off and on again?
We're just gonna pretend we keep having sound and go on, I think.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, everyone else can make their own choices, I guess. What was I
All I
saying?
know
Oh,
is the browser keeps crashing on me, so I keep having to reload the player.
yeah. I that it's not me for the first time ever. It's not me. I've got it on my phone. I keep looking down at it and being yeah.
Mm.
It's but I think again, like from the player side, from the GM side, um, it was through like playing other systems, like less prep or more player driven systems that helped me like open up to that being able to play a game on a like 1-word sentence. And like
Yeah.
that could purely be like Sarah stuff, but I feel like a lot of the times whether I'm like on TikTok or Twitter or whatever, I see a lot of like stuff where people are like, how do I do this thing? And it's like, you don't play the dragon game. Like, how do I want
There
to, this is what I want to do. You don't,
that is
you
one of
do
the things
something
that I love
else.
about I love beggar talk.
Mhm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I am begging you to play something other than the dragon game.
Finding and one of the things, and I want to take a moment to like highlight this because this is something that was pointed out to me that I had not considered. There are folks
Mhm.
where learning a new game is legitimately difficult, right? Like whether it's they just don't have the time for it, or like mentally it's really hard to kind of replace mechanics once they've learned a mechanic system.
Mhm.
All of that stuff, those are valid. That's 100% valid. I'm gonna say that real just you are valid, and it can be difficult to learn new systems,
And
100%.
and that's the thing, is like a lot of people act like D&D is an easy system. It's
Right.
not an easy system to learn if you have never played it. And
Right.
I've actually like one of the things that well, go backstory. The original Critical Misses was me running Dungeons and Dragons out of the basement of a local pub.
Nice.
And I was running games for beginners, like absolute beginners. They've never played Dungeons and Dragons, never touched a D20 before. And so what I had to do was I had to write modules for beginner GMs and beginner players
Mhm.
because it was all volunteer based. Uh our first session that we hosted was we had 45 people show up,
Oh,
and
wow.
I didn't have nearly enough GMs to
Right.
run anything. So I had someone was like, "Hey, like I would run something for you, but I don't have anything prepared." And I literally would hand them an envelope with everything they needed and said, "Here, go, do it."
Take
It's
this
got
help.
everything you need. It's a fully written module, like, and everything is written out. Go for it. Have fun. And like we had full like parties show up and like just like they'd form and they'd keep playing after the play sessions.
Mhm.
Um so uh I'm used to like coming into this from like a teaching perspective, teaching people how to play the game, like, and like showing people how it works, because it's not an easy system to learn if you're just
No.
learning.
If you don't have the vocabulary for how a D&D like game runs,
No,
already you're having to build up vocabulary, you have to jump through 3 books.
because
You have
and that's one of
thousands
the
of
things.
pages of content. Like it's
Exactly.
not approachable.
No, it isn't. And that's the thing. It's a lot of people, once they learn that one system and they sort of figure it out, it's easy for you to cling to it because it is kind of like a security blanket in that way. You learn it and you're like, well, it was hard enough for me to learn this game.
Right.
Think of how hard all these other games are.
Right.
Yeah, I think and I'll talk about plus one for a second here. I think a
Yeah.
Go
really
for it.
fun thing about this channel is Tony specifically, and like it's a thing we've sort of glommed onto, has done a really good job at getting players into the game and being like, hey, we're gonna play this game. You don't need to learn it ahead of time. We have a 15-minute pre-call. We'll
Yeah.
either learn it there, and anything we don't know how to do, we'll learn on stream. It's great.
And that's a lot of what we would do on Critical Misses too when we were
Mhm.
doing System Crash. Is I wouldn't prep anything. I would just pick a game off. I would throw a dart at the wall and be like, "Okay, this is the game we're running tonight. Let's go."
Yeah, and just there's so many good
And
indie
we'd go
games.
through character creation on stream too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
perfect.
So
And
like this, you don't have to. And there's like like Powered by the Apocalypse games are super easy to learn.
so easy.
2d6, that's all you need. And then like you just add your numbers from your stats. And when I also, one of the things that I would do was I used to run games for Magpie in their curated play program,
Mhm.
and we'd have people, especially the Avatar players, because they love Avatar: The Last Airbender, but they don't know what the heck an RPG is. So let's teach them from scratch how to play an RPG and what to do with it.
Mhm.
And Powered by the Apocalypse are great for learning. Like it's
So
so
easy.
easy, so
Well,
easy to learn.
and it's funny because this like even with Power by the Apocalypse, because this is my complaint with the dragon game. It pollutes your brain,
It
and like
does.
it makes you try to think about all other games from that perspective. So when you hit a Power by the Apocalypse game, it's like, well, how do I do it? And it's like you just do it.
You just do it.
Uh, but I
Because
certainly have to roll like sharp or something. No, you don't. You just do it. And like it kind of unlearning that like yes, you've learned D&D, great. You have it, but like unlearning it and recognizing, to like Keegan's point, that like other games you can just learn in like 15 minutes. You can sit around and like it becomes more of that communal experience again instead of the like produced content actual play. Like the
Mhm.
whole mind shift happens, I think, or it did for me when I started playing indie games
Yeah.
versus just D&D, and particularly in the actual play space, right? It became
Mhm.
actually playing instead of producing a show. And I think that like that's an interesting an interesting mind shift, right? Like
Mhm.
of going from like I need to like have this framework and it needs to work for, armor class and all of these things, and
Yeah.
like no, you can just sit around and be renegade racers for a couple of hours and then call it.
So yeah, No Nut November, the game that I was running over on Gen Con, because I love the name. I love the name of the game. It's No Nut November, subtitle Squirrels of the Post-Apocalypse. It's by Mitchell
So good.
Daly, and I love this
Oh,
game. It's 10 pages, and uh it, the only time you roll is when you do something strenuous that you can reasonably fail. That's when you roll. If it's something like scurrying up a tree, you're fine. You're probably okay. You could do it. But if it's something like scurrying up, like, I don't know, a sheer metal surface or a sheer plastic surface, it's a little bit difficult. Uh, so you would spend an energy and then you roll a d8 equal to your pool because it's pool based.
Okay. All
And
right.
then you succeed on a 7 or an 8. One success is succeeding at a cost. 2 is succeeding as intended, and 3 is it scales up from there. Succeeding with a bonus, and then extra bonuses scale up. Which it's a great game. It's a great system, and I taught my players how to play it. We built our characters like just before stream, and we played the game like from scratch. Like I maybe glossed over the rules about 5 minutes before it. I love games like that where you can just sort of like dive in.
Right.
It just feels so intuitive in that way where you can just be like,
Mhm.
okay.
Right. Where the game doesn't get in the way of you playing the game. Where you're not having to stop and say, how do I do this again? No, you can just go. Like you don't have to worry about so many different things tripping you up or whatever. And again, I think recognizing that like what trips up somebody might not trip up somebody else. Like I played the altered carbon system. Never again. Never again.
I've
There
heard
are
you
some
talk about
games that are too
Carbon
crunchy.
so many times.
It just like whenever I think about just like you have too many things, like it
Altered Carbon is to you the way Deadlands Savage Worlds is
felt to
to
you.
me.
I haven't played Savage Worlds or Deadlands in a long time. But I remember it being like fairly difficult. I like how they did initiative in that with the playing cards.
Yeah,
Mm.
so unfortunately the Deadlands is good. Savage World is good. When they smashed them together to make a single game, it was very
Yeah.
bad.
But No Nut November is on sale right now for No Nut November.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Get some squirrel games.
I'm pretty good about getting links in that chat.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
this is very
Um,
good.
but it's super fun, really easy, and you can just make wacky stories because it actually has like a story generator. My
Nice.
players are going to try and find a stash of nuts at the Pet Value, the mythical Pet Value,
The mythical.
which is currently taken over by a cult of rodents that were former pet store pets, like former hamsters and squirrels, or hamsters and the like, but they are currently being overlorded by a very charismatic capybara, a capable capybara.
This is very good. This is very good. More games need more capybaras. There, I said it.
And I'm just excited for them to actually encounter this capybara because he's just so chill.
I love
And
this.
I just like the fact that it's just like a super chill, like cult leader.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, man, so chill.
Sup? Yeah, no, this is
What's going on?
We just got a lot going on here. You can be a part of it. You should be a part of it. Hello. Yes. Have you drank some of my Kool-Aid?
We're talking about capybaras, and it just made me think of what? There's a fringe-shaped hole at the center of everything, which was a game about playing a dire capybara.
Oh, I love
that was made
capybara.
as part of Unplaytested.
What?
Oh my gosh. This is very good.
You write epic poetry as the way you play the game?
I love games with unique sort of mechanics.
Hey, shout out Unplaytested.
Every time I feel like I'm like, yeah, this is what a TTRPG is. Somebody's like, is it?
Is it? A TTRPG can be anything, though.
Is
the
it?
thing. It's anything that you can play at a table with friends.
Aw.
Sometimes by yourself. 1,000-Year-Old Vampire is just a diary writing game.
Mm-hmm. It's very good.
Which is one of the ones that I want to run for solo act is 1,000-Year-Old Vampire.
This is very good.
I just need to figure out exactly how that works.
He's right here.
It's a good game.
Keegan's shelf never fails to impress me. Just turns around this one.
Yeah.
I have a collection of, like, I actually organized all. I've got something like 500 RPGs because people bought me bundles for gifts, like for my birthday and things, and I'm just like, I have so many games.
Yeah.
So many games, too many games.
I feel you. This was the stuff that fit upstairs.
It's so good.
I have one called Totally Real Human Adults, where you play a bunch of kids in a trench coat.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Trying to pass as kids. They're trying to pass as an adult.
The problem is, this is a real problem for me, is I hear a game and I go, I want to play that. I want to play that with Keegan. And then I like play out what that would look like in my mind's eye, like not knowing anything about the system, but just like, how would Keegan and I try to go about being kids in a trench coat? About the same as when we try to be conjoined twins at a state fair.
Yeah. conjoined
the thing
twins at
is
the
this.
state fair, which was
Butter
part
Princess.
of Butter Princess.
It
which
was
I
such a
also
good
have on the
game.
shelf.
I mean, there are TTRPGs that fit on the back of a business card.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's one where it's the actual game itself is just the business card.
Mhm.
And it is what's it called? I have it here somewhere. It is the game is you hand someone the business card, and if they have not played the game, you win and you pass it along. But if you hand them the business card and they have played the game, you lose.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about business card RPGs, there was Tiny Library, which is great.
Tiny Library is great.
Which is
Cute.
all just little tiny like business card size games.
This is
All just
wonderful.
little-
Yeah, that was one of the ones that was gifted to me on itch, was like the Tiny Library. So I have all the business card games from there.
They're so good. Yeah, a bunch of them came from. Shout out to the Business Card Game Jam on itch. Got created a bunch of these.
If anyone watches this and then goes, I just don't know what games to play, lies. Because we've told you about 7,000 of them.
There are so many games. There are too many games sometimes.
I will find you and I will tell you to your face, you're silly and you weren't paying attention. So we're about at the 2-hour mark. I know our stream counter indicates otherwise, because Twitch servers hate me. But I feel like I just want to start kind of running the Cypher system, an adjective, noun that verbs. That's super. I feel like, again, like being able to kind of approach it from that very streamlined place, even if the book is, 450 pages and there is a lot of going back and forth, but just that single streamlined concept of like, here's what I want to be, here's the sentence that I can form, and the infinite combinations you can have there is so cool. And I really appreciate you taking some early squirrely time with us this Sunday morning to come talk to us.
It's so early.
It is
so early.
It is still early. I'm gonna have a nap after this. I'm having the best nap.
And that's
Yeah. Before, as we wrap up though, I want to kick it over to Anita. You got anything coming up? Anything you want to promo? Tell the people where they can find you. Something you're excited about.
So you can find me on Tuesday on my channel. I'm going to be running the game that I mentioned earlier. I have the high ground with my good friend Chaotic Darby. We're going to be doing a 2-player Tuesday. So that's Tuesday night, probably at, I want to say 7 Central on my channel. And other than that, I'm a graphic designer. So if you want to hire me to do graphic design for you, you can do that. My portfolio is bit.ly/aweeb portfolio. If you want to see the things that I've done for folks and for myself. You can also find me over on Friday. You can find me on Gen Con's TV, twitch.tv/GenCon TV for Table Takes game night. We're going to be playing. That is correct. That is how you spell that.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
You can find me on Table Takes game night at 6 p.m. 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Central, something
Time
like
zones
that.
are hard.
Call
You're
time,
gonna
I think, is
tweet about
5:30.
so if people follow your Twitter,
If you follow my Twitter, you can get it. But yeah, I'll be running the second part of a 3-parter for No Nut November. And Saturdays, you can find me on Morning Ritual on my channel as well, which is a TTRPG talk show. We've talked with a lot of folks. We've talked with Brendan Lee Mulligan, Matthew Mercer, Bria Iyengar, just literally everybody. Sarah has been on the show. Sarah's amazing. But yeah, you can find us there and talking with folks. I think our guests. I think that's it for now. I might have some more things up the pipe. If you follow the Critical Mrs. Twitter, I'll be putting up the call for pitches and for submissions this week on Monday. So you can see, you can come play games and come run some games on the channel if you like, if that's a thing you would like to do. But yeah, other than that, that's about where you can find me most times.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast. Anita's one of my favorite people. They've always made the space feel inclusive and wonderful, and make sure that everybody's accounted for and cared for, and told phenomenal stories that like literally still stick with me. Like so good. Keegan, what do we have on our docket? Are we
Hey,
ready?
here's a
Are we ready to
wild
talk about
thing to
it?
hear, Sarah. We have nothing on our docket for the rest of November.
Oh,
We're out.
what?
Pokemon
Yeah.
comes out on the 18th. I'm taking a
Yeah.
week off, and then it's
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, and then we're
Yeah.
basically, back into December.
Yeah. So it's a crazy month. But it's all in
That's
preparation
not
for
of the
good
year.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're gonna announce it. Me and Sarah will be at PAX.
We're gonna be at
Heck yeah.
PAX.
Yeah, we'll be at PAX Unplugged early December. And I think we agreed to it in the chat, so I'm just gonna say it. We'll be
Yeah.
back. We'll be doing some pre-recorded stuff while we're at PAX. And we're gonna play Dread with Anita.
Heck yes.
It's
I
gonna
would love
be
to run
great.
y'all through some Dread.
Hell yeah.
Let's do
Or
it.
play Dread. Either works.
Yes. We'll have our cult ceremony probably while we're there. We're still figuring that out, where Keegan and I can talk about the state of the cult and things that we're excited about. We're still getting to have a character study next month, so keep an eye out for that. But we're just gonna get all those things squared away this month, so we have stuff then, and we're really
Heck
jazzed. Key, is there anything else you want to plug before we
No,
head out?
I think I'm all good. Follow me on Twitter, I guess. I'm at KeeganEXE. I think that's on the screen probably though, so I don't need to say all this.
Yeah, I think so. I'm Sarah. You can find me on Twitter in the place that it says on the screen. I do a bunch of TTRP. Go run some Apocalypse World, so if you want to check that out, you
Heck
should.
yeah.
What channel are
But
you gonna run that on? Because it's not this one.
it's not this one. It's gonna be over at Nat20. So come check that out. We're on the home stretch of this campaign, Dirt. Come check it out. It should be a lot of fun. And with that, I'm gonna wish everybody a happy Sunday. Thanks again to Anita, and we hope that you enjoy your pizza. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.